If you watched part 1, you know Cynthia's 5-second kiss with a Korean Mafia boss destroyed her entire life. If you didn't, go watch it now, because part 2 picks up exactly where the explosion happened. Cynthia woke up zip-tied to a chair, tortured for information she doesn't have, with the Choi family demanding answers about a man she thought was dead. Turns out, Kang Ji-hoon doesn't die easy, and what he does to save her will make you question everything you thought you knew about love and violence. The smell hit Cynthia first, antiseptic and copper, the unmistakable scent of blood and sterile fear. Her eyes opened to concrete walls, a single flickering bulb overhead, and the rhythmic drip of water somewhere in the darkness. Her shoulders screamed in protest, arms pulled behind her, zip-tied to a metal chair bolted to the floor. The elevator, Choi Doyun, Minji bleeding out, the explosion. Ji-hoon. Panic clawed up her throat, but Cynthia swallowed it down. Falling apart wouldn't help. Screaming wouldn't help. She needed to think, to assess. To survive long enough for what? For a dead man to rescue her? No, she couldn't think like that. Wouldn't. The USB drive. Her hand instinctively tried to reach her pocket, but the zip ties bit into her wrists. Had they found it? Did they know what Ji-hoon's mother had given her? "You're awake." The voice came from the shadows, smooth and cultured. "Good. I was beginning to worry we'd been too rough during transport." Choi Doyun stepped into the light, and Cynthia's breath caught. He looked exactly the same as he had in the elevator, immaculate suit, perfect hair, the kind of handsome that belonged on magazine covers, not in underground torture rooms. Behind him, 2 men emerged. One held a tablet, the other held pliers. Cynthia's stomach turned to ice. "Let me explain how this works," Doyun said, pulling up a second chair and sitting backward on it, arms crossed over the back, casual, like they were having coffee. "I'm going to ask you questions. You're going to answer them, honestly and completely. If I believe you're lying..." He gestured to the man with pliers. "Mr. Kwon gets creative. Do we understand each other? Where's Minji?" Cynthia's voice came out stronger than she felt. "The woman you shot, is she alive?" Doyun's smile widened. "See, you're already asking the wrong questions. Let me demonstrate the right approach." He leaned forward. "Where is Kang Ji-hoon's secondary headquarters?" "I don't know." "Wrong answer." He nodded to Mr. Kwon. The man moved behind her. Cynthia heard the pliers open, felt cold metal against her left pinky finger. "Wait!" The word burst out. "I don't know, because I'm not part of his organisation. I met him 12 hours ago. I kissed him to avoid my ex-boyfriend, that's it. I don't know anything about his business." Doyun studied her, head tilted. Then he raised his hand. Mr. Kwon stepped back. "You know," Doyun said conversationally, "my intelligence confirms you're exactly who you claim to be, a graduate student, nobody important, caught in something much larger than yourself." He stood, began pacing. "But that's what makes you fascinating, Miss Okafor. Ji-hoon doesn't protect random women. He doesn't bring strangers to his private residence. He certainly doesn't risk his entire operation to keep someone safe. He was using me," Cynthia said, the lie coming easier than expected. "To avoid an arranged marriage, to buy time. I was convenient, that's all." "Then why did his building's security footage show him covering your body with his during the explosion? Why did he send his best driver to extract you? Why?" Doyun pulled out his phone, swiped through photos that made Cynthia's chest tighten. Photos of Ji-hoon looking at her in the penthouse. The expression on his face wasn't convenient. It was something else entirely. "Does he look at you like you're the only real thing in his entire manufactured world?" Cynthia said nothing. Couldn't say anything past the lump in her throat. "You want to know if he survived?" Doyun asked almost gently. The explosion that took out 3 floors of his building, the one designed specifically to eliminate the Kang family leadership. Did he? The question escaped before she could stop it. Doyun's smile was cruel. That depends on your next answer. You see, we have reason to believe Jihoon's mother, who we thought was dead, gave you something in those final moments, something she's been collecting for 15 years. Evidence, perhaps. Documentation. Insurance. The USB drive burned against Cynthia's hip, where they'd somehow missed it during their search. Hidden in a pocket so small and unexpected, they'd assumed she had nothing. She gave me nothing, Cynthia said flatly. I passed out. When I woke up, I was in the elevator with you. Search her again, Doyun commanded. The man with the tablet moved forward. Cynthia's heart hammered as hands patted down her pajamas. Yes, she was still in the silk pajamas Minji had dressed her in. They checked her waistband, her collar, even her hair, but they'd already checked the obvious pockets. They didn't think to check the tiny internal pocket meant for emergency cash that Cynthia had discovered by accident 3 hours into wearing them. Nothing, sir, the man reported. Doyun's jaw tightened. Interesting. My father was certain. He cut himself off, studying Cynthia with new intensity. You're tougher than you look. I respect that. But understand something, Miss Okafor. I'm the reasonable one, the one willing to have conversations, to offer deals. My father. He gestured upward, toward wherever they were holding her. He's upstairs right now, preparing much less pleasant interrogation methods. You have maybe an hour before he loses patience with my approach. I can't tell you what I don't know, Cynthia said. Then let's try different. Questions. Doyun sat again, pulled out a folder. Your thesis advisor, Dr. Park Min-jun. He told us everything before we killed him. Cynthia's breath stopped. You... what? Liability. He'd served his purpose. Doyun said it like he was discussing the weather. But before he died, he mentioned something interesting. You have a contact in the Korean National Police, a detective who's been helping with your research, Detective Han Soo-jin. Where is she? The name meant nothing to Cynthia. I don't know any... Don't lie. Doyun's composure cracked. He stood so fast his chair clattered backward. Dr. Park gave her classified files. Files about our organisation. She's been building a case, and you're her source. I've never heard that name in my life. Doyun's hand shot out, gripped her throat. Not hard enough to choke, but enough to make his point. My father thinks you're worthless, that we should kill you and leave your body somewhere Jihoon will find it, if he's even alive to find it. I'm the only reason you're still breathing. So I suggest... An explosion rocked the building. Doyun stumbled. The lights flickered. Somewhere above them, gunfire erupted. Rapid, professional, the sound of a coordinated assault. Doyun's phone buzzed. He looked at it, and his face went white. Impossible, he whispered. What? Mr. Kwon demanded. Kang Jihoon. Doyun's voice shook. He's here. He's alive. And he's here. If your heart just exploded, hit that subscribe button right now, because this rescue is about to get insane. The gunfire intensified. Closer now. Cynthia could hear shouting in Korean, the distinctive sound of doors being breached. Doyun grabbed her face, forced her to look at him. How many men does he have with him? How would I know? Answer me. Another explosion. The bulb overhead shattered, plunging them into darkness lit only by emergency lighting that cast everything in hellish red. Fall back, someone shouted in Korean from the hallway. Fall back! He's... The voice cut off with a wet gurgle. Doyun released Cynthia and drew his gun. Mr. Kwon, get her to the vehicle. Now. She's our only leverage. Mr. Kwon moved behind her chair, and Cynthia felt the zip ties being cut. Her hands screamed as blood rushed back into them. He hauled her up, one arm locked around her throat, gun pressed against her temple. "Move," he commanded, dragging her toward a door she hadn't noticed in the darkness. They made it 3 steps before the main door exploded inward. Smoke and dust filled the room. Through it, backlit by flames from the hallway, a figure emerged. Ji-hoon! He was alive, covered in blood, his own or others, impossible to tell, his suit jacket gone, his white shirt torn and stained, a gun in each hand. His face was a mask of cold fury that made every other expression Cynthia had seen from him look warm by comparison. "Let her go," he said quietly, too quietly, the kind of quiet that preceded violence. Or what? Mr. Kwon pressed the gun harder against Cynthia's head. "You'll shoot. You might hit her. You'll definitely hit her if you try anything stupid." Ji-hoon's eyes found Cynthia's across the chaos. Something passed between them. An apology, maybe, or a promise. Then his expression went completely blank. "You're right," he said. "I might miss." He fired both guns simultaneously. Mr. Kwon's head snapped back. The man with the tablet dropped, a hole between his eyes. Both men dead before they hit the ground. And Ji-hoon hadn't so much as grazed Cynthia. She stood frozen, Mr. Kwon's arm still locked around her throat even as his body went limp. The gun clattered to the floor. "Cynthia!" Ji-hoon's voice broke through her shock. "Let him go! Come to me!" She shoved the corpse away, stumbled forward on numb legs. Ji-hoon caught her, pulled her against his chest with one arm, while keeping his guns trained on Doyun, who'd pressed himself against the far wall. "You're alive!" Cynthia breathed against his chest. She could feel his heartbeat, rapid and strong, real. "I thought... the building takes more than an explosion to kill me." His lips pressed against her hair just once. Then he was all business again, stepping slightly in front of her. "Choi Doyun, your father, upstairs, with 40 men." Doyun's voice shook. "You can't fight them all, even you. Watch me. Wait!" Doyun held up his hands. "A deal. I'll get you out. Secret exit. You take the girl and go. I tell my father you were never here. In exchange for, you don't kill me. Simple. Desperate. Please, I'm not my father. I never wanted this war. I want to live." Ji-hoon considered this for exactly 3 seconds. No. He shot Doyun through the heart. Cynthia couldn't stop staring at Doyun's body, the way his expensive suit was now ruined with blood, the way his eyes stared at nothing, the way Ji-hoon had killed him without hesitation. "Cynthia!" Ji-hoon's hand cupped her face, forcing her to look at him instead. "Stay with me. I need you focused. He wanted to make a deal. He tortured you. He would have killed you." Ji-hoon's thumb brushed her cheek, and only then did Cynthia realize she was crying. Men like him don't honor deals. They look for weakness and exploit it. I don't give them the chance. More gunfire erupted from the hallway, closer. Ji-hoon's men were fighting their way down, but the Choi family was pushing back hard. "How many did you bring?" Cynthia asked. "Everyone." Ji-hoon pulled her toward the door Doyun had mentioned, the secret exit. "Every soldier I have. Minso wanted to wait, to plan, but I don't wait when someone takes what's mine." What's mine? The words should have terrified her. Instead, they made something warm unfurl in her chest. They emerged into a maintenance corridor, concrete and pipes and the smell of mildew. Ji-hoon moved with lethal efficiency, one gun raised, the other hand locked on Cynthia's wrist. Behind them, the sounds of battle raged. "Your family," Cynthia said as they navigated the maze of tunnels. "Your mother, Minso, safe. Mother's in hiding. Minso is leading the assault from the east entrance." Ji-hoon paused at a junction, checked both directions. "Minji is in surgery but stable. The bullet missed anything vital." Relief flooded through Cynthia. Thank God. Thank Minji's instinct to shift right before Doyun fired. Jihoon pulled her left, down a tunnel that sloped upward. We're almost out. There's a vehicle waiting 3 blocks from here. Once we're in it... A figure dropped from an overhead vent. Jihoon spun, but not fast enough. The attacker, a woman in tactical gear, kicked his gun from his hand and drove a knife toward his throat. Jihoon caught her wrist, twisted, and they went down hard. Cynthia scrambled backward as they fought. Brutal, efficient, no wasted movement. The woman was good, trained, but Jihoon was better. He got his knee into her chest, slammed her head against the concrete once, twice, until she stopped moving. He stood, breathing hard, blood dripping from a cut on his forearm. More will be coming. Run. What about you? I said, run. The command in his voice made her legs move before her brain caught up. She ran, the tunnel blurring around her, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Behind her, she heard more fighting, Jihoon engaging someone else, multiple someones by the sound of it. The tunnel ended at a ladder leading up to a maintenance hatch. Cynthia climbed, her hands slipping on the rungs, her shoulders still aching from being tied to that chair. The hatch opened to an alley, dark and wet from recent rain. She pulled herself out, stumbled to her feet, and found herself face to face with Choi Jung, Doyun's father. She recognized him from photos Jihoon had shown her during their brief time in the penthouse, older, grey-haired, with eyes like ice chips and a gun pointed directly at her heart. The girl who started a war, he said in heavily accented English. My son died for you. My entire operation is compromised because of you. I think it's only fair you die for me. Your son died because you sent him after me. Cynthia shot back, surprised by her own courage. You started this war, not me, not Jihoon, you. Jihoon. Choi Jae-sung smiled, and it was worse than his anger. The Ice King. So cold, so controlled, until you. Do you know what you've done to him? He burned half my organization to the ground in 3 hours to find you. 3 hours. Men I've had for decades, dead. Resources I've built for years, destroyed, all for a woman he barely knows. His finger moved to the trigger. He knows me, Cynthia said, because if these were her last words, they would be true. More than you'll ever understand. Then you can tell him that in hell. Jihoon erupted from the hatch behind Cynthia, like something from a nightmare, blood-covered, furious. Moving faster than should be possible. He slammed into Choi Jae-sung before the older man could fire, and they crashed into the alley wall hard enough to crack brick. You don't touch her! Jihoon's voice was barely human. You don't look at her. You don't breathe the same air as her. He was killing Choi Jae-sung with his bare hands, each punch driving the older man's head back, blood spraying. It was brutal. Terrifying. And Cynthia couldn't look away because this was who Jihoon really was. Not the controlled businessman, not the smooth negotiator, but this, raw violence in defense of what he'd claimed. Jihoon! She didn't know why she shouted his name, didn't know what she wanted him to do. Stop, keep going. She just knew she needed him to hear her voice, to remember she was there. He stopped. Chest heaving, fists bloody. Choi Jae-sung slumped against the wall, barely conscious. Jihoon looked at Cynthia, and his eyes were wild. A man who'd crossed a line and couldn't find his way back. I should kill him, he said hoarsely. For what he did to you, for what he tried to do. But you won't, Cynthia said, walking toward him slowly, hands raised like she was approaching a wounded animal. Because you're not him. You have lines you don't cross. You told me that. He crossed mine first. I know. She was close enough to touch him now, close enough to see the way his hands trembled, the way his jaw clenched with the effort of not finishing what he'd started. But I'm safe now. You saved me. That's enough. It wasn't enough. She could see it in his eyes. But slowly, incrementally, Jihoon stepped back from Choi Jae-sung's broken body. Sirens wailed in the distance. Multiple vehicles. Police, Jihoon said, his voice rough. Real ones this time. My mother made the call. They'll find enough evidence here to bury the Choi family for years. What about you? I have lawyers. Good ones. He looked down at his bloody hands, then back at her. Cynthia, what you saw tonight, what I did, saved my life, she finished, multiple times. That's what I saw. Comment right now. Is Cynthia falling for him, or just grateful? Can they survive what comes next? Keep watching because this gets more intense. A black SUV screeched into the alley. Minso emerged from the driver's seat, took in the scene, his brother covered in blood, Choi Jae-sung barely breathing, Cynthia in silk pajamas standing between them, and sighed. You couldn't have waited for backup. No, Jihoon said simply. Minso opened the back door. Get in, both of you. Mother's waiting at the safe house, and she's going to lose her mind when she sees you're both still alive. Cynthia climbed in first, her legs finally giving out now that the adrenaline was fading. Jihoon slid in beside her, and the moment the door closed, something in him cracked. He pulled her against him, buried his face in her hair, and just breathed. I thought I lost you, he whispered. When that building came down, when I woke up in the rubble and you were gone, I thought I'd killed you by bringing you into my world. You didn't kill me. You saved me. I put you in danger in the first place. No. Cynthia pulled back enough to look at him. The Choi family did. Dr. Park did. My ex did. You're the only one who actually protected me when everyone else was using me. Jihoon's hand came up to cup her face, and there was something in his expression, raw, vulnerable, terrified, that made her breath catch. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. This feeling, caring whether someone lives or dies beyond their strategic value. You're not part of my world, Cynthia. You shouldn't be. But I can't. His voice broke. I can't let you go. Then don't. The words hung between them for a heartbeat. Then Jihoon kissed her. Not like in the club, performative and controlled. Not like in the penthouse, interrupted and tentative. This kiss was desperate, honest, a drowning man finding air. His hands tangled in her hair, pulled her closer, like he could physically prevent the world from taking her away again. Cynthia kissed him back with equal desperation, tasting blood and smoke and something underneath that was just him. Her hands fisted in his ruined shirt, holding on, anchoring both of them in this moment where they were alive, together. And nothing else mattered. I'm going to be sick, Minso announced from the front seat, but his voice held a hint of amusement. They broke apart, and Jihoon actually laughed, a short, surprised sound that made Cynthia smile despite everything. Where are we going? She asked. Safe house on the outskirts of Seoul. Private, secure. No one knows about it except immediate family. Jihoon kept one arm around her shoulders, like he couldn't bear to not be touching her. You'll stay there until we're certain the Choi family is neutralized. How long will that take? With their leadership in custody and their operations exposed. Days? Maybe. A week at most. Minso glanced in the rearview mirror. Though, I have to say, brother, your method of neutralization was excessively violent even by our standards. He tortured her. And now he'll spend the rest of his life in prison, which is arguably worse than death. Minso's expression sobered. Mother wants to talk to you both about the evidence she gave Cynthia, about what comes next. The USB drive. Cynthia had almost forgotten it in the chaos. She reached into the tiny pocket, pulled out the small device. It looked so innocuous, just a piece of plastic and circuitry, But Jihoon's mother had said it contained 15 years of evidence. You still have it, Jihoon breathed. They didn't find it. They searched me. Twice. But this pocket... She showed him the hidden compartment in her pyjamas. It's so small they didn't think to check. Jihoon took the drive like it was made of glass. Do you know what this means? If Mother's been documenting everything, this could bring down not just the Choi family, but half the corrupt officials in Seoul. Police, judges, politicians, everyone who's been protecting them. That's what she wanted, Cynthia said. She told me to get it to the real police if she didn't make it. She made it. Minseo's voice held something that might have been relief. Barely. The explosion destroyed most of the penthouse, but she got to the safe room in time. Stubborn woman survived 15 years in hiding. It'll take more than explosives to kill her. The safe house appeared ahead, a traditional Korean home hidden behind modern security gates, surrounded by trees that provided cover from prying eyes. As they pulled up, the door opened, and Jihoon's mother emerged. She looked different in casual clothes, her silver hair loose around her shoulders, but her eyes were the same, sharp, assessing, missing nothing. They landed on Cynthia and softened. You survived, she said simply. Good girl. Then she looked at her son, took in his bloody appearance, and raised an eyebrow. I assume the Choi family is no longer a concern. Not anymore, Jihoon confirmed. Good. She gestured them inside. Come. We have much to discuss, starting with what happens now that you've declared war on the half of Seoul's underworld to protect a woman you've known for less than a day. Cynthia and Jihoon exchanged glances. About that, Jihoon started. His mother smiled. Oh, I know exactly what's happening. I invented this particular form of stupidity when I fell for your father. Come inside before the neighbours start asking questions about why my dead son is standing in my driveway covered in blood. The safe house was deceptively simple. Traditional wooden floors, paper screens, minimalist furniture that looked centuries old. But Cynthia noticed the security cameras hidden in decorative panels, the reinforced doors disguised as traditional sliding screens, the panic room entrance concealed behind a bookshelf. Even in hiding, the Kang family prepared for war. Jihoon's mother, call me Yuna, she'd insisted, had immediately sent Jihoon to shower and change while she guided Cynthia to a guest room with clothes already laid out. Real clothes this time, not silk pyjamas. Jeans, a soft sweater, and boots that actually fit. How did you know my size? Cynthia asked, running her fingers over the fabric. I know everything about everyone my sons bring home. Yuna's smile was knowing, though in 30 years, Jihoon has never brought anyone home. You're the first. The weight of that statement settled over Cynthia. I don't understand what's happening. 3 days ago, I was a graduate student worried about my thesis. Now I'm... What? His girlfriend? His liability? His... Yuna interrupted gently. Just his. The label doesn't matter in our world. What matters is that he's claimed you and he'll destroy anyone who tries to take you away. I've seen that look in his eyes before, in his father's eyes when we met. It's love and obsession and protection all tangled together until you can't separate them. We barely know each other. And yet you kissed him to escape an ex-boyfriend, trusted him when he said, "Get in the car," survived torture without giving up the evidence I entrusted to you. Yuna moved closer, her expression serious. You're stronger than you think, Cynthia Okafor. My son needs strong. The world he lives in eats the weak alive. I'm not part of his world. You are now. It wasn't a threat, just a fact. The question is whether you want to be, because after tonight, after what he did to the Choi family, there's no going back for either of you. You're linked, His enemies are your enemies. His protection is your prison, unless you choose to see it differently. Cynthia sat on the edge of the bed, exhaustion finally catching up. What if I want to leave? Go back to my life, my research, my apartment. Then he'll let you go. Yuna's answer surprised her. Oh, he'll station guards outside your building, monitor your movements, ensure you're safe. But Jihoon isn't his father. He won't cage you against your will. He'll just watch from a distance, forever, waiting for the moment you need him again. That sounds exhausting. Love usually is. Yuna moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I like you. You didn't crumble when most would have broken. You stood in that alley and told my son not to become a monster, and he listened. No one makes Jihoon listen. So whatever you decide about your future, know that you've already changed him. The question is whether he's changed you too. She left Cynthia alone with thoughts that felt too heavy for her skull. An hour later, Cynthia found Jihoon on the back porch, overlooking a small garden lit by paper lanterns. He'd showered, changed into black pants and a simple white shirt. Without the blood and destruction, he looked almost normal. Almost. Can't sleep? She asked, joining him at the railing. Too much adrenaline. Give it another few hours. He glanced at her, and something in his expression softened. You look better. More yourself. I'm not sure I know who that is anymore. Jihoon was quiet for a moment. Then, the woman who asked me to kiss her in a nightclub. The woman who got in my car despite every instinct screaming to run. The woman who survived Choi Doyun's interrogation without breaking. He turned to face her fully. That's who you are. Someone who adapts, who survives. Is that what you need? A survivor? I need... He stopped, frustrated. I don't know what I need. I've spent my entire life knowing exactly what I want, how to get it, what pieces to move on the board. Then you walked up to me and asked for one kiss, and suddenly, I don't know anything anymore. Cynthia stepped closer, close enough to see the fresh scar on his jaw from the explosion, the bruises forming on his knuckles, the way his hands gripped the railing like it was the only thing keeping him grounded. Your mother said you've never brought anyone here before. I haven't. Why me? Because you're real. The words came out raw, honest. Everyone in my life wants something. Power, money, connection, protection. They smile and bow and call me sir while planning how to use me. But you just wanted to avoid your ex-boyfriend. The most mundane human problem possible. And when I told you who I was, you didn't try to leverage it. You just dealt with it. I'm still dealing with it, Cynthia admitted. I watched you kill 3 people tonight. I should be terrified of you. Are you? She considered lying, considered saying yes, creating distance, protecting herself. But Yuna's words echoed. The question is whether you want to be part of his world. No, Cynthia said finally. I'm not terrified of you. I'm terrified of what I felt when I thought you were dead, when that building exploded and I thought I'd never see you again. We've known each other for barely a day, Jihoon. That's not enough time to... She couldn't finish the sentence. To what? He moved closer, and suddenly the space between them felt electric. To care whether I live or die. To miss me when I'm gone. To kiss me like the world is ending. His hand came up to cup her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone, because I felt all of that in the 3 hours I spent tearing apart Soul to find you. This is crazy. Probably. His forehead dropped to rest against hers. But I've lived my entire life being careful, calculated, controlled. For once, I want to be crazy with you. Cynthia's hands found his chest, felt his heartbeat racing beneath her palms. What does that mean? What are we doing? I don't know, Jihoon admitted, but I know I'm not ready to let you go. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The kiss was inevitable. slower this time, more deliberate. His hands tangled in her hair, hers fisted in his shirt, and for a moment, the world narrowed to just this. His mouth on hers, his body warm against hers, the taste of possibility and danger all mixed together. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Cynthia saw something in his eyes she hadn't seen before. Hope. Terrifying, vulnerable hope. "Stay," he said simply, "not because you have to, not because it's safer, but because you want to. Give this, us, a chance to be something real." Before Cynthia could answer, the door slid open. Minso stood there, his expression grim. "We have a problem," he said, "a big one. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Because this problem is about to change everything." Inside, Yuna had a laptop open on the traditional wooden table. Multiple screens displaying news feeds. All of them showed the same thing. Jihoon's penthouse building, or what was left of it. Emergency vehicles, body bags, and a press conference with a man Cynthia didn't recognize. "That's police." "Commission attack," Jihoon said, his arm still around Cynthia's waist like he couldn't quite let go. "He's been on the Choi family payroll for years." "Not anymore," Yuna said, turning up the volume. "Can confirm that tonight's explosion and subsequent violence was the result of a gang war between the Kang and Choi crime families. We have evidence linking Kang Ji-hoon to multiple murders, including the death of Choi Doyun, son of Choi Jae-sung. There is currently a warrant out for Mr. Kang's arrest. We are also looking for this woman." Cynthia's university ID photo appeared on screen. Cynthia Okafor, an American graduate student who we believe was kidnapped by Mr. Kang and is being held against her will. If anyone has information about her whereabouts, please contact. Yuna muted it. The silence that followed was deafening. "They're spinning it," Minso said, "making you the villain and her the victim, probably trying to flush you both out." "The USB drive," Jihoon said, turning to his mother. "If we release the evidence now, it's not enough." Yuna's expression was troubled. "I have documentation, yes, financial records, recorded conversations, photos, but nothing that directly ties Commission attack to the Choi family, and nothing that will stick in court before they bury it. We need something bigger, something undeniable." "Like what?" Cynthia asked. "Like Choi Jae-sung's testimony," Minso said. "If he flips, if he agrees to testify against everyone who helped him in exchange for a lighter sentence." "He'll never flip," Jihoon interrupted. "Men like him would rather die than appear weak." "Then we need to give him a reason to live," Yuna said slowly, her eyes calculating. "Something he values more than pride, something he'd sacrifice everything to protect." Understanding dawned on Cynthia's face. "His daughter, Choi Hana. She's at university in the States, right? Business major at Columbia?" All three Kangs turned to stare at her. "How do you know that?" Minso demanded. "My research. Dr. Park had me compile profiles on all major crime family members, including their children." Cynthia's mind raced. Hana is his only child, his heir. But more than that, she's the only person he's ever shown genuine affection for in public. There are photos of them together at her high school graduation. He's wearing a suit that actually fits him. He's smiling, really smiling. She's his weakness. Jihoon said softly. "She's leverage," Yuna corrected. "If we can get to her first, before the rest of the Choi family realizes she's vulnerable." "No." Cynthia stepped back. "No, we're not kidnapping an innocent girl to force her father's cooperation. That's exactly what they did to Dr. Park's daughter. That's what made him hurt me. We're not doing that. Then, what do you suggest?" Minseo's tone was sharp. "Because right now, the entire Seoul police force is hunting my brother. You're wanted as a kidnapping victim, and we have. Maybe 48 hours before the Choi family regroups and comes after us with everything they have." Cynthia thought about Hana, about a girl roughly her own age trying to build a normal life away from her father's empire, about how it felt to be used, manipulated, turned into a pawn in someone else's game. We tell her the truth, Cynthia said finally. We contact her, show her the evidence, let her see what her father really is. Then we give her a choice. Help us bring him to justice, or watch more innocent people die because of his empire. That's insane, Minso said flatly. She'll never betray her own father. Maybe not. Cynthia met Jihoon's eyes. But I kissed a stranger in a nightclub 3 days ago and somehow ended up here. Sometimes the insane choice is the right one. Jihoon's lips curved into that almost smile. I'm starting to see that. Yuna studied Cynthia with new appreciation. You want to appeal to her conscience, to who she could be, rather than who her blood says she should be. Everyone deserves that choice, Cynthia said, even Choi Jae-sung's daughter. It's risky, Yuna admitted. If she warns her father, if she alerts what's left of his organisation, then we're no worse off than we are now, Jihoon finished. He looked at his mother, his brother, then back at Cynthia. I say, we try it. Cynthia's way. Minso threw up his hands. You've known her for 3 days and she's already making strategic decisions. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Then be afraid. Jihoon's voice went cold. But she's right. We're not the Choi family. We don't hurt innocents to get what we want. Not anymore. The brothers stared at each other, and Cynthia could feel the weight of years of conflict, of different philosophies, about how to survive in their world. Finally, Minso looked away. Fine, we do it her way. But if this goes wrong, if Hana Choi brings her father's remaining forces down on us, then I take responsibility, Cynthia said. This is my plan, my risk. Our risk, Jihoon corrected, his hand finding hers. Finding Choi Hana turned out to be easier than expected. The girl maintained a public Instagram account under a fake name, Ihana Sen Y, filled with coffee shop aesthetics, Columbia University library photos, and carefully curated shots that screamed, normal college student trying to escape her father's shadow. She posts her location constantly, Minso observed, scrolling through the account on his tablet. Coffee shops, study spots, her favourite bookstore in Manhattan. Either she's incredibly naive or she's deliberately making herself easy to find. Maybe she wants to be found, Cynthia suggested, by someone who isn't her father's world, by something normal. Yuna nodded slowly. There's a desperation in these posts. Look. She pointed to a caption under a photo of Hana studying alone in a cafe. Sometimes I wonder if anyone sees the real me, or just who I'm supposed to be. She's lonely, Cynthia said softly. Isolated. She probably has friends, but no one she can be honest with. No one who knows where she really comes from. Perfect, Minso said. Lonely people are easier to manipulate. We're not manipulating her. Cynthia's voice was sharp. We're giving her information and a choice. There's a difference. In our world, there isn't. Then maybe your world needs to change. The tension crackled between them until Jihoon stepped in. Enough. Cynthia, how do you want to approach her? Cynthia pulled out her own phone, a secure device Yuna had given her to replace the one Jihoon had confiscated. I reach out, student to student. I tell her I'm doing research on Korean families in America, that I'd love to interview her. It's close enough to the truth that I won't have to lie much. And when she realizes who you are, when she sees the news about you being kidnapped, Yuna asked, then I show her this. Cynthia held up the USB drive, and I tell her the truth about everything. Her father, my advisor, how we were both used. I appeal to the person she's trying to become, not the daughter her father wants her to be. Jihoon was quiet for a long moment, then nodded. Do it. But you're not going alone. I'll be with you. That's a terrible idea. Minso interjected. You're literally wanted by the police. The moment you step foot in the States... I have a private plane and passport under a different name. I've had them for years. Jihoon's tone suggested this wasn't up for debate. If Cynthia's risking herself for this plan, I'm not letting her do it alone. How romantic, Minso said dryly. The wanted criminal and his kidnapping victim flying to New York together. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, Yuna said calmly. Which is why you're going with them, Minso. 3 sets of eyes are better than 2, and if this goes badly, if the Choi family has people watching Hana, you'll need backup. Minso looked like he wanted to argue, but something in his mother's expression stopped him. Fine. But when this blows up in our faces, I'm saying I told you so. You can say it from prison if we fail, Jihoon replied. Because that's where we're all going if we don't stop what's left of the Choi organization from regrouping. 12 hours later, Cynthia stood in front of a bathroom mirror in a private airport hangar outside Seoul, staring at her reflection. Someone, probably Yuna, had packed her a bag with clothes that looked expensive but understated. The kind of things a successful graduate student might wear. Tailored pants, a silk blouse, a leather jacket that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe back home. She looked like someone who had their life together. Someone who hadn't watched people die. Someone who wasn't currently wanted by the police in connection with a gang war. The reflection was a lie, but maybe that was the point. Ready? Jihoon appeared behind her in the mirror, also transformed. Gone was the dangerous Mafia boss in blood-stained clothes. In his place was a man in a perfectly cut navy suit, designer glasses, hair styled differently. He looked like a tech CEO or a wealthy investor. Someone forgettable. Someone safe. Another lie. I've never been to New York, Cynthia admitted. Always wanted to visit. Didn't think it would be under these circumstances. It's loud, crowded, and everyone walks too fast. Jihoon's hand settled on her shoulder. You'll love it. How do you know? Because you adapt. You survive. You find the beauty in chaos. His eyes met hers in the mirror. That's who you are. Cynthia turned to face him properly. In the harsh bathroom lighting, she could see the exhaustion carved into his features. The weight he carried. Jihoon, if this goes wrong, if we can't convince Hana, if the Choi family finds us, then we run. We disappear. Mother has safe houses in 17 countries, funds that can't be traced, identities that don't exist on any database. He cupped her face, his touch gentle despite the calluses on his palms. I told you I'd find you wherever you went. That promise extends to protecting you wherever we go, even if it means leaving everything behind. You'd do that. Give up your empire, your family business, everything you've built, for you. His thumb brushed her cheek, in a heartbeat. I've spent 30 years building power I never wanted, maintaining an empire I inherited, playing a role I didn't choose. If walking away from it means keeping you safe, there's no choice to make. Cynthia's breath caught. That's insane. So you keep saying. His smile was soft, real. And yet you're still here. Yeah, she whispered. I am. The kiss was interrupted by Minseo's voice over the intercom. If you two are done having a moment, the plane is ready. We have a 6-hour window before someone notices the flight plan. They broke apart, and Jihoon's forehead rested against hers for one more second. Last chance to back out, to go home, finish your thesis, live a normal life. I can have you on a commercial flight to anywhere you want within the hour. Cynthia thought about her apartment in Seoul, her research, the life she'd carefully built over 2 years. Safe, predictable, boring. Then she thought about the way Jihoon had torn apart a crime organization to find her, the way he'd stood between her and death without hesitation. The way he looked at her like she was something precious in a world that had taught him to value nothing. "I'm not backing out," she said. "We do this together." "Together," he echoed, and the word sounded like a promise. The private plane was smaller than Cynthia expected, but luxurious in that understated way that screamed real money. Leather seats, a bedroom in the back, a fully stocked bar. Minso was already aboard, typing rapidly on a laptop. "Hana posted an hour ago," he said without looking up. "She's at the Columbia Library. Finals week. She'll be there for hours, probably." "Perfect," Cynthia said, settling into a seat. "That gives us time to—" Her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "Unknown. I know what you're planning. Don't." Cynthia's blood went cold. She showed the phone to Jihoon, who immediately handed it to Minso. "Trace it," Jihoon commanded. Minseo's fingers flew across his keyboard. "It's routed through 7 different servers, encrypted to hell and back. Whoever sent this knows what they're doing." He paused, his expression darkening. "But I can tell you where it originated. Manhattan, specifically within a half-mile radius of Columbia University." "Someone's already watching Hana," Yuna said from the doorway. None of them had heard her board. "The question is whether they're Choi family or something else entirely." Another message appeared. Unknown. "Choi Hana is protected. Approach her and you'll regret it. This is your only warning." "Protected by who?" Cynthia demanded, as if the phone could answer. "The Choi family. The police." A third message, and this one included a photo. Hana leaving the Columbia Library, completely unaware of the man following 10 feet behind her. Asian, late 20s, wearing casual clothes but moving with military precision. Unknown. By people who have been watching her for 3 years, people who will do whatever it takes to keep her safe from her father's world. Turn back, Cynthia Okafor. This is not your fight. "They know my name," Cynthia whispered. "They know we're coming. They know everything." Jihoon took the phone, studied the photo with professional detachment. "That's a professional bodyguard, former military, probably special forces. See the way he's positioned? Always keeping her in sight, maintaining distance but ready to close it in seconds." He looked up at his mother. "This isn't the Choi family protecting their asset. This is someone else entirely." "The question is who?" Minso said. "And what do they want?" Yuna's smile was cold. "Only one way to find out. We go to New York anyway. But now we know we're walking into a trap." "Or a negotiation," Cynthia countered. "Whoever sent this knows we're trying to reach Hana. They could have just killed us instead of warning us. That means they want something. Or they want us all in one place," Minso said darkly. "Away from our resources, our territory, our protection. Manhattan is neutral ground. No one has home advantage." "Then we level the playing field," Jihoon said. He turned to his mother. "Contact the Nakamura family in New York. Tell them we need sanctuary. They owe us after the Tokyo incident." "The Yakuza!" Cynthia's voice rose. "We're asking the Japanese Mafia for help. Enemy of my enemy." Yuna said simply. "The Nakamura family has been trying to expand into Korean markets for years. If we give them information about the Choi family's collapse, they'll protect us. Temporarily." "This is getting too complicated," Cynthia said, her head spinning. "We were supposed to talk to one girl. Now we're involving international crime families and mysterious bodyguards and—" "Welcome to my world," Jihoon said quietly, "where nothing is ever simple and everyone has an agenda. Last chance, Cynthia. You can still walk away." She looked at him, really looked at him, and saw the hope and fear warring in his eyes. He wanted her to stay, but he'd let her go if she asked. That's what made the decision easy. I'm not walking away, Cynthia said firmly, but we do this smart. We find out who's protecting Hana and why. We see if we can work with them instead of against them, and we don't involve the Yakuza unless absolutely necessary. You're giving orders now? Minseo's tone was incredulous. Someone has to, Cynthia shot back. Because all of you are so used to violence and manipulation that you've forgotten the simplest approach, asking questions before throwing punches. Silence. Then, surprisingly, Yuna laughed. I like her, Ji-hoon. She's got fire. She nodded to the pilot. Take us to New York, and someone get me everything we have on private security firms operating in Manhattan. If Hana has professional protection, they're either very expensive or very dedicated. Either way, they'll have a weakness we can exploit. The plane began to taxi. Cynthia watched Seoul disappear beneath them, the city lights fading into darkness. Somewhere down there was her apartment, her research, her old life. She might never see any of it again. Ji-hoon's hand found hers, squeezed once. No regrets? Ask me again when we're not being threatened by mysterious bodyguards, Cynthia replied. But she squeezed back, because for better or worse, she'd made her choice. Now, she just had to survive it. Comment now. Who do you think is protecting Hana? Drop your wildest theories because this mystery is about to explode. Manhattan hit Cynthia like a wall of noise and movement. Even at midnight, the city pulsed with energy that made Seoul look sleepy by comparison. Their car, a black SUV with tinted windows that screamed, "Don't ask questions," navigated through traffic, while Minso provided updates from the passenger seat. Hana's still at her apartment in Morningside Heights. The bodyguard is outside her building, stationed across the street in a coffee shop that closed an hour ago. He's been there for 3 hours. Dedicated? Ji-hoon observed from beside Cynthia. Or waiting for something? For us, Cynthia said. They knew we were coming. They're probably watching for our arrival right now. As if in response, her phone buzzed again. Unknown. The Gramercy Hotel, room 1847. Come alone, Miss Okafor. If the Kang brothers accompany you, Hana will disappear and you'll never find her again. Absolutely not, Ji-hoon said immediately. You're not going anywhere alone. It's a trap, Minso agreed, actually siding with his brother for once. Classic isolation tactic. Separate you from protection. Take you out quietly. But Cynthia was already reading the next message. Unknown. I know what you're thinking. It's not a trap. I'm the person who's kept Hana safe from her father for 3 years. The person who's been feeding information to your mother, Yuna. Yes, Kang Ji-hoon, you read that correctly. Your mother and I have been working together. She just didn't tell you because she knew you'd react exactly like this. All 3 of them stared at the phone. Then Ji-hoon pulled out his own device and called his mother. Is it true? He demanded when she answered. Have you been working with someone in New York? Someone protecting Choi Hana? There was a long pause. Then, yes. For 2 years. I was going to tell you once we had enough evidence to move, but the Choi family accelerated everything when you brought Cynthia home. Her name is Sarah Chen, former CIA, now private security. She's been documenting everything Hana knows about her father's operations. And you didn't think to mention this? Ji-hoon's voice was dangerously quiet. I was protecting my asset and protecting you from making exactly the mistake you're about to make. Running in without all the information. Yuna's tone sharpened. Sarah won't hurt Cynthia. She wants the same thing we do, to bring down the Choi family. But she needs to assess whether Cynthia can be trusted with Hana. The girl has been through enough. Sarah won't let anyone hurt her further. So, I'm supposed to just walk into a hotel room alone with a former CIA agent? Cynthia's voice rose. That's your plan? My plan is for you to trust that I've been building this case longer than you've been in Seoul. Sarah knows everything about you, about Jihoon, about what happened in the club, and the torture and the explosion. She's been watching through her own channels. If she wanted you dead, you'd be dead already. The line went silent. Jihoon looked at Cynthia, conflict written across his features. You don't have to do this. We can find another way. What other way? Cynthia gestured to the phone. She has Hana, she has information, and apparently she's been working with your mother for years. We need her cooperation, and she's offering it. On her terms. Terms that separate you from protection. Or terms that prove I'm not a threat. Cynthia met his eyes. Your mother trusts her. That has to count for something. My mother trusts no one completely, Jihoon countered, and she's survived this long because of it. Minso cleared his throat. For what it's worth, if mother's been working with this Sarah Chen for 2 years, she's vetted. Mother doesn't keep assets that can't deliver. And if Chen wanted leverage against us, she could have taken Cynthia any time in the last 12 hours. We weren't exactly subtle at the airport. Another message appeared. Unknown. Clock is ticking, Miss Okafor. Every minute you waste debating is... Another minute, the Choi family's remaining lieutenants are planning their revenge. I have information you need. You have evidence I need. Let's trade. Room 1847, 1 hour. Come alone or don't come at all. Cynthia took a breath, then another. I'm going. Cynthia, I'm going, she repeated, this time with more force. Because this is the smart play. Because we need allies, not more enemies. And because... She looked at Jihoon, saw the fear he was trying to hide. Because you trusted me when I asked you to kiss me in that club. Now I'm asking you to trust me with this. The comparison hit him visibly. His jaw tightened, but slowly he nodded. Fine. But we're in the lobby, armed. If you're not out in 30 minutes, we're coming in. Make it 45, Minso suggested. If Chen is anything like Mother described, she'll have contingencies. We breach early, we might lose our chance at cooperation. 30, Jihoon insisted. Not a second longer. The Gramercy Hotel was exactly what Cynthia expected from New York luxury. Art Deco elegance, beautiful people in the lobby bar. The kind of place where a graduate student's yearly stipend might cover one night's stay. She rode the elevator alone, watching the numbers climb, her heart hammering against her ribs. Room 1847 was at the end of a quiet hallway. No security cameras visible, but probably there anyway. Cynthia knocked. The door opened immediately, revealing a woman in her late 30s with sharp eyes and the kind of posture that screamed military training. Asian features, casual clothes, but Cynthia could see the gun holstered at her hip. Cynthia Okafor, the woman said, not a question. I'm Sarah Chen. Come in. We have a lot to discuss and not much time. The room was a suite, and Hana Choi sat on the couch. She looked nothing like her father. Softer features, scared eyes, wearing Columbia University sweatpants and gripping a cup of tea like it was a lifeline. When she saw Cynthia, she flinched. You're the woman from the news, Hana said in English with a slight American accent. The one my father's people kidnapped, the one Kang Ji-hoon supposedly took. I'm the woman who kissed Kang Ji-hoon to avoid my ex-boyfriend and accidentally started a war, Cynthia corrected, stepping inside. The door clicked shut behind her, and she heard the lock engage. And you're the daughter of the man who tortured me to find evidence your father didn't want exposed. Hana's face crumpled. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know what he was doing in Seoul. He told me he ran legitimate businesses, that the rumours were exaggerated, that... Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. For what he did to you. For everything. Sarah moved to stand behind Hana, protective but not threatening. Hana reached out to me 3 years ago, found me through channels I won't disclose, asked me to help her understand who her father really was. I've been documenting everything since, his operations, his connections, his crimes, feeding it to Yuna Kang because she's the only person in Seoul with the resources and motivation to use it properly. Why? Cynthia asked. Why help the Kang family? Because the enemy of my enemy is useful, Sarah said bluntly. And because Hana deserves a life that isn't built on her father's blood money. She wants out, has wanted out since she was 16 and figured out what import-export business really meant. Hana wiped her eyes. I can't go home, can't ever go back to Korea. The moment I do, I'm property, someone to be married off, used to forge alliances, turned into the next generation of everything I hate. So I ran to college, to America, to anywhere that wasn't his world. But you can't run forever, Cynthia said gently. Can you? No. Hana's voice was small. He'll come for me eventually, especially now with everything falling apart. I'm his only heir, his only leverage for rebuilding. Sarah's kept me safe, but... She looked up at the woman who'd protected her for years. I can't hide forever. Can I? Sarah's expression was carefully neutral, but Cynthia saw the answer in her eyes. No. Eventually, the Choi family would find Hana. And when they did, Sarah couldn't stop them all. That's why you contacted us, Cynthia realised. Not to warn us away, to offer an exchange. We help you disappear Hana permanently. New identity, new life. Somewhere her father can never find her. In exchange, she testifies against him. Gives us everything she knows. Smart girl, Sarah said. Yuna was right about you. There's a problem with that plan, Cynthia continued. Even if Hana testifies, even if we have evidence, Choi Jae-sung won't stay in prison. He has too many connections, too many people who owe him favours. He'll get out eventually, and when he does, he'll hunt me down. Hana finished. I know. I've always known. That's why I've been so careful, so hidden. But now, she gestured helplessly. Now he's desperate, and desperate men do terrible things to the people they think betrayed them. The room fell silent. Cynthia's mind raced through possibilities, discarding each one as quickly as it formed. There had to be a solution, had to be a way to give Hana her freedom without signing her death warrant. Then it hit her. What if he didn't know you betrayed him? Cynthia said slowly. What if, as far as he knew, you were still loyal, still his daughter, still someone he needed to protect? Sarah's eyes narrowed. You're suggesting we plant a mole, make Choi think Hana is feeding us information while actually being loyal to him. No. Cynthia shook her head. I'm suggesting we make him think someone else is the traitor, someone close enough to have access to everything Hana knows, someone he'd believe could betray him. Who? Hana asked. Cynthia pulled out her phone, pulled up a photo from her research. Your father's second in command, Kim Tae-won. He's been with your father for 20 years. Trusted, loyal, the perfect person to frame for betrayal. Sarah's expression shifted to something like respect. That's actually brilliant. If we make it look like Kim sold out the family, gave us all the information, Choi would never suspect Hana. She'd be safe, protected by her father's own paranoia. But how do we frame him convincingly? Hana leaned forward. My father isn't stupid. He'd need real evidence, real betrayal. Then we give him real betrayal. A voice said from the bedroom doorway. Everyone spun. Minso stepped out of the shadows, gun drawn, but pointed at the floor. Sarah's weapon was out in an instant, aimed at his chest. 28 minutes, Minso said, calmly, ignoring the gun. You said 30. I gave you 28, and I heard everything through the bug I planted on Cynthia's jacket. Clever plan. stupid execution. You're missing the key element. Which is? Cynthia demanded, her heart still racing from the shock. Kim Tae-won is already betraying Choi Jae-sung. Minseo's smile was cold. Has been for 6 months. To us. We flipped him after the Choi family killed his brother in a territory dispute. He's been feeding us information ever since. So if you want to frame him for betrayal... He looked at Hana. It won't be a frame at all. It'll be the truth, and your father will believe it because it's real. The revelation hung in the air like a live grenade. You've had a mole in the Choi family for 6 months and didn't tell mother? Sarah's gun remained steady on Minseo. That's either brilliant or suicidal. Both, probably. Minseo finally holstered his weapon, a gesture of trust that made Sarah slowly lower hers. Kim Tae-won approached us after his brother's death, wanted revenge but was too smart to move openly. We've been using him to track Choi movements, finances, everything. Mother knows she's the one who vetted him, but we kept it compartmentalized. The fewer people who knew, the safer Kim stayed. Until now, Hana whispered, her face pale. If you expose him, my father will kill him. Slowly. He makes examples of traitors. Then we make sure your father never gets the chance. Cynthia's mind was already racing ahead, pieces clicking into place. We don't just frame Kim for betrayal. We use his real betrayal to take down what's left of the Choi organization. Kim provides the final evidence we need, testifies alongside Hana, and in exchange, we get him out. New identity, new life. Just like Hana. You're talking about extracting a deep cover asset from the heart of a crime family that's currently reorganizing for war, Sarah said flatly. That's not a plan, that's a fantasy. It's the only play we have. Jihoon's voice came from the doorway, and everyone spun again. He stood there with a gun in one hand and his phone in the other, his expression carved from ice. Because in approximately 4 hours, Choi Jae-sung is being transferred from police custody to a maximum security prison. And during that transfer, his remaining lieutenants are planning a rescue operation. Kim just confirmed it. He held up his phone, showing a message in Korean. Minseo translated, they're hitting the convoy on the Cross Bronx Expressway. 15 men, military-grade weapons, 2 extraction vehicles. If they succeed, Choi goes free, rebuilds his empire, and everyone in this room becomes a target, permanently. The weight of it settled over them like ash. We have to stop the extraction, Cynthia said. If he gets free... We can't stop it, Jihoon interrupted, his eyes never leaving hers. We're wanted by Korean authorities, have no jurisdiction here, and the NYPD won't listen to warnings from foreign criminals about a prisoner transport they've been planning for weeks. Then what do we do? Hana's voice cracked. Just let him escape. Let him come for me. No. Sarah's expression hardened with decision. We don't stop the extraction. We hijack it. Let the Choi family break him out. Then we take him from them. In the confusion, no one knows who grabbed him. Could be a rival family, could be the feds, could be anyone. We make him disappear completely. And do what with him? Minseo demanded. We can't kill him. That makes Hana a target for revenge. Can't turn him over to authorities because he'll talk his way out eventually. Can't keep him prisoner forever because someone will find him. Silence. Everyone looked at each other, the impossibility of the situation pressing down like a physical weight. Then Cynthia spoke, her voice quiet but certain. We make him confess, on camera, to everything, every crime, every murder, every deal. We get him to incriminate himself and everyone who ever helped him so thoroughly that there's no walking it back. Then we release it to every news outlet, every police department, every government agency simultaneously. Make it so public, so undeniable that even his connections can't bury it. He'll never confess, Hana said. You don't know, my father. He'd die first. Everyone breaks eventually. Sarah said slowly, her eyes calculating. The question is finding the right pressure point for Choi Jae-sung. She looked at Hana. I'm sorry, but you're his pressure point. If he thinks you're in immediate danger, if he believes confessing is the only way to save you. No. Ji-hoon's voice was absolute. We're not using her as bait. She's been running from this her entire life. We don't put her back in the fire. Then what do you suggest? Minso challenged. Because we're running out of time and options. Ji-hoon looked at Cynthia, and something passed between them. Understanding, trust, the kind of connection that forms when two people survive hell together. We use me. I'm what Choi Jae-sung wants, the man who destroyed his organization, killed his son, took everything from him, let his people rescue him, then let them find me waiting. He'll want to make an example of me, to prove he's still in control. That's when we get the confession. That's insane, Cynthia said, but her voice lacked conviction because she could already see the logic. He'll kill you. Maybe, probably. Ji-hoon moved closer to her, his hand finding hers. But if it means you're safe, Hana's safe, this whole nightmare ends. It's worth it. No, it's not. Cynthia's grip tightened on his hand. We've been together for 4 days, Ji-hoon. 4 days. And you're talking about sacrificing yourself like it's nothing? It's not nothing. His free hand cupped her face, and everyone else in the room seemed to disappear. It's everything. You're everything. I've spent 30 years feeling nothing, being nothing except what my family needed me to be. Then you asked me for one kiss, and suddenly I'm human again. I can feel again. And what I feel is that I'd burn down the entire world to keep you safe. Tears streaked down Cynthia's face. That's not love. That's obsession. In my world, they're the same thing. His forehead pressed to hers. Let me do this. Let me end it. No. The word came out fierce, angry. We don't end anything. We survive it. Together. That's what you said. Together. You don't get to change the rules because you're scared. I'm not scared. Liar. She pulled back enough to meet his eyes. You're terrified. Terrified that caring about me makes you weak, that loving me puts a target on both our backs, that you'll lose me the way your father lost your mother. So you're trying to be the hero, throw yourself on the grenade, make the sacrifice play. But I didn't survive torture and explosions and car chases to watch you die for me. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to be smart. Use every resource we have and find a way that doesn't end with either of us dead. Understand? Ji-hoon stared at her like she'd spoken in a foreign language. Then, impossibly, he laughed. A real, genuine sound of surprise and wonder. How are you real? I ask myself the same thing about you every day. They kissed, and it was different from every kiss before, not desperate or performative or interrupted. This was a promise, a choice. Two people deciding that whatever hell came next, they'd face it together. When they finally broke apart, Sarah was smiling. Well, that was disgustingly romantic. Now can we please figure out how to stop a prison break? The plan came together in pieces, each one more dangerous than the last. Kim Tae-won would feed the Choi lieutenants false information about the transport route, a change that would lead them into a trap. The NYPD would be anonymously tipped about the extraction attempt. When the shooting started in the chaos, Sarah's team would grab Choi Jae-sung, not to protect him, to interrogate him, and the interrogator, Hana. I can do it, she insisted when everyone protested. I know exactly what to say to make him break. I've spent 22 years learning how his mind works. He thinks I'm weak, that I'm his innocent daughter. I'll use that. I'll make him believe I'm in danger, that confessing is the only way to save me, and when he does, When we have everything on camera, I'll tell him the truth, that I've been working against him for years, that his little girl grew up and became everything he feared. Sarah looked at her with something like pride. You're sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. Hana's voice was steady. He took my childhood, my chance at a normal life, my ability to trust anyone. I'm taking back my power, starting now. If you're not screaming right now, you're not human. Comment Team Hana if you're ready to see her destroy her father, and subscribe because part 3 is going to be chaos. 4 hours later, the Cross Bronx Expressway erupted into a war zone. The Choi extraction team hit the transport van exactly where Kim said they would and walked directly into a NYPD ambush. Gunfire lit up the night. Civilians screamed and fled. The transport van's doors blew open and Choi Jae-sung stumbled out in handcuffs, confused, searching for his rescuers. That's when Sarah's team moved in. 4 vehicles, 12 operatives, a precision strike that grabbed Choi and vanished into the chaos before anyone could identify them. They took him to a warehouse in Red Hook, Brooklyn, stripped him of everything except his prison jumpsuit, chained him to a chair bolted to the floor, and when he finally looked up, still dazed from whatever sedative Sarah had used, he saw his daughter standing in front of him. "Hello, father," Hana said in Korean. "We need to talk about your crimes." The confession took 3 hours. Hana played him perfectly, the frightened daughter at first, begging him to tell the truth to save her from the people who kidnapped me. Choi Jae-sung, thinking he was protecting her, spilled everything. Names, dates, bank accounts, murder orders, bribes, every sin he'd committed for 30 years, all captured on 3 cameras from different angles. When he finished, exhausted and believing he'd saved his daughter, Hana's expression changed. "Thank you, father. That's exactly what we needed." Understanding dawned in his eyes. You did this. You betrayed me." "No." Hana's voice was cold, strong, nothing like the girl he remembered. "You betrayed yourself. You betrayed our family name. You destroyed everything you touched and called it business. I just made sure the world finally sees you for what you are. I'm your father. You're a monster who happens to share my blood. There's a difference." She turned to leave, then paused. "I'm disappearing now. You'll never find me, never hurt me again, and every day you spend in prison, you'll know it was your daughter who put you there. Goodbye, father. I hope it was worth it." She walked out, and Choi Jae-sung's screams echoed through the warehouse. 1 week later, the videos went viral. Every news outlet, every social media platform, every police department in 3 countries. Choi Jae-sung's confession complete and undeniable. Within 48 hours, 17 Korean officials were arrested. Within a week, the Choi family's entire operation collapsed. Kim Tae-won got his new identity. Hana got her freedom, relocating somewhere even Sarah wouldn't disclose. And Cynthia stood in a penthouse in Manhattan, one of Jihoon's investments, watching the sunset over the city while he wrapped his arms around her from behind. "It's over," she said softly. "Really over. For now." His lips brushed her temple. "There will always be something else. Someone else. That's the world I live in. That we live in," she corrected. "If you're stuck with me, I'm stuck with you." "Is that what you want? To be stuck with a criminal? With someone who will always have enemies? Always be looking over his shoulder?" Cynthia turned in his arms to face him. "I want you. However that looks, wherever it leads." She smiled. "Besides, I already emailed my new thesis advisor, with a revised proposal. Turns out I have unique insight into Korean organised crime now. First-hand research." Ji-hoon laughed. You're going to write your dissertation about us. I'm going to write my dissertation about how even in the darkest places people can choose to be more than their circumstances, about redemption and change and... She kissed him softly. Impossible love stories that somehow work. I love you, Ji-hoon said. And it was the first time he'd said the words out loud. I don't know when it happened. Maybe when you asked me to kiss you, maybe when you survived torture without breaking, maybe when you told me not to become a monster. But I love you, Cynthia Okafor, completely, terrifyingly, forever. I love you too, she whispered against his lips, even though you're insane and dangerous and... Her phone rang. Unknown number. They both froze. Because unknown numbers had stopped being coincidences in their world. Cynthia answered, putting it on speaker. Hello? Miss Okafor? The voice was male. Accented. Russian, maybe. My name is Dmitry Volkov. I represent certain interests in Eastern Europe who have been watching your recent activities. We're very impressed, particularly with how you handled the Choi situation. I don't know who you are or what you want, Cynthia said carefully, but what I want is to hire you. Both of you, actually. Mr. Kang's tactical expertise and your remarkable ability to find peaceful solutions to violent problems. You see, we have a situation in Moscow. A rival family has taken something very valuable from us. Someone very valuable. And we believe you're exactly the team we need to get her back. We're not for hire, Ji-hoon said coldly. Everyone is for hire, Mr. Kang. The question is price, and in this case, the price isn't money. A pause, heavy with meaning. It's information about your father. The real reason he was taken by the Yakuza 15 years ago. The real reason your mother had to fake her death. Would you like to know the truth? Or would you prefer to keep living with comfortable lies? The line went dead. Cynthia and Ji-hoon stared at each other, and she saw the same thing reflected in his eyes that she felt in her chest, the knowledge that this wasn't over, that it would never be over, that they'd just opened a door to a world far larger and more dangerous than they'd imagined. Moscow, Cynthia said finally. We're going to Moscow. We don't have to, Ji-hoon said. But his voice lacked conviction. We could ignore this, disappear, live a normal life. You've never lived a normal life. And after everything that's happened, neither have I. She took his hand, squeezed. Besides, he mentioned your father. You need to know the truth. We both do. This could be a trap. Could be worse than the Choi family. Probably is. Cynthia smiled, fierce and certain. Good thing we make a pretty good team. Ji-hoon pulled her close, kissed her like it might be the last time, then rested his forehead against hers. Together. Always together. Behind them, Manhattan glittered in the evening light. Ahead of them, Moscow waited with answers and new dangers. And somewhere in the shadows, Dmitry Volkov smiled, watching through a camera he'd had installed in the penthouse 3 days ago. Perfect, he murmured in Russian. They're perfect. This is going to be very entertaining. He made a call. Prepare the plane. They'll accept within 48 hours. And get me everything on Kang Ji-hoon's father. The real files. The ones his mother doesn't know exist, if we're going to control them. We need the leverage to break them. On the other end of the line, a woman's voice, cold, professional, lethal, responded in English. Already done, sir. The father is secured, and I've prepared the welcome for Miss Okafor. She's going to be very surprised when she learns what her own mother has been hiding all these years. The line went dead, and in a penthouse in Manhattan, 2 people who'd survived hell together, held each other and prepared for something even worse, completely unaware that their entire story, from that first kiss to this moment, had been orchestrated by someone far more dangerous than the Choi family. Someone who'd been watching since the beginning. Someone who needed them for a job that would either save thousands of lives or destroy everything they'd built. In 72 hours, they'd be in Moscow and nothing would ever be the same again. Comment section is going to explode. Drop your theories. Who is Dmitry Volkov really? What secret is Cynthia's mother hiding? Is Jihoon's father alive? Or is this a trap? Will they survive Moscow? Team Cynthia and Jihoon. Or is this love story doomed? Part 3. Drop soon, and I promise you, everything you think you know is about to get destroyed. The Choi family was just the beginning. What's waiting in Moscow will change everything. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, because Part 3, Moscow, is coming, and you do not want to miss the moment when Cynthia discovers the truth about who she really is. See you in Moscow if you dare.